team all season, and then we'll open up for questions.
Overall, it was a good fall. Extremely hot month of September, and, most of our work was in September and a little bit into October. I thought the players did a nice job of showing up every day and working hard, not only from, they're tired and some of them coming off long summers of playing ball and travel, but they showed some toughness, and just proud of them on that end. We battled some injuries. Some older guys, I rested them a little bit and, maybe didn't play them all the time in our scrimmages and tried to give them a little bit more downtime. And then you throw in the injuries on top of it. It gave some of the new guys and the younger guys maybe a little more opportunity to have a few more at-bats or a few more innings on the mound. So I think that was a good thing. If you have injuries, obviously you want them in the fall. You have a chance to heal up, and I think we're well on our way to being ready to roll come February. So good fall. We're now in a very important time of the year. This is when guys get a lot stronger, lifting weights 4 times a week. Still doing skill work, some offense, a little defense, and some base running. The pitchers are a lot of the older guys are pretty much shut down from working bullpens. Some of the younger guys coaches continuing to work with them, trying to develop a pitch here and there. So it's a big time of the year for guys to get ready for spring.
There was a report the other day that Hobbs was interviewing for the Yankees. Do you know where that process is right now, and do you anticipate him to be back?
Yeah, first on that, I think obviously we have one of the best coaching staffs in the country, I feel, with Coach Thompson and Coach Hobbs and Coach Smart. I truly believe that those guys are, at the top of their profession and what they do. And, Matt has been contacted numerous times over the last couple of years, even when he was at Wake Forest, by professional baseball. And, it's kind of the same this year. And I just basically said, Matt, you need to go on one of those. And he really doesn't have a desire to leave Arkansas. For Matt to leave the University of Arkansas, they would have to really, really take care of him financially, probably to the point where most major league teams wouldn't do that. So, I'm sure he's told them that. And I'm not going to get into dollar amount, but you're talking life-changing type money. And so he did go talk with the Yankees, and they called me, and before they brought him out there, and I told him, you can do whatever you want to do. You want to bring him out, but really what's going on with pitching, in our opinion, at the big league level, is by these organizations bringing in all of the college pitching coaches, say the top 5 or 6 guys across the country. They're just gathering information. When you have an interview and there's 12 people in the room with a computer in front of them, and you're going through your presentation and how you run a pitching staff and how you teach and how you use analytics, they're just getting all our information. They're trying to learn from college baseball coaches, and hats off to our colleges for being ahead of the game a little bit. But, I feel like Matt Hobbs is going to be our pitching coach for a long time, and for him to leave here, they're going to have to, they're going to have to compensate him in a big time way. And so, obviously, big league teams, they can do whatever they want. So if they want to pay you $1 million a year, they can. If they want to give you, they can give you whatever. So as of right now, and I feel we're going to have Matt Hobbs here for a long time.
Wes was the first one to make that jump to the MLB. Do you think the success that he had this season with the Twins, you might see more willing to pull a college coach that position?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't hurt. There's also one coach that lasted 9 months, and he quit, and they got rid of him, whatever you want to call it. So, because some coaches don't like, in some organizations, they don't let you coach as much as you want to coach. They just tell you what to do and tell you who to play, tell you how to pitch people. And that's their analytics staff saying, we're going to throw this, this, and that. And, they take the coaching out of it. And I don't think a lot of people really enjoy that. Now, I'm not saying that's the same way with the Twins. Just talking to Wes, he gets to work. But some organizations, they don't treat it that way to the extreme that, here, you're hands-on. When you're a pitching coach, you're coaching, and you're working, and when you leave there at night, you know that, you really contributed. So, yeah, I think that, having Wes go coach in the big leagues, it probably has opened some eyes, and they know that he's a good coach, and he's awesome to be around, and that college coaches know what they're doing. There's been a couple others, but they started out as, maybe not quite the big league pitching coach. They were more of the coordinator of the minor league pitchers, and they realized how talented they were, and they're in the big leagues, and they've done a nice job too. So, yeah, it's something that's not going to go away.
So Matty interviewed with him Thursday. Those are not Wednesday, and what
Yeah,
did
he met
say
with him all
about-
day Wednesday.
yeah. What did he say about how it went?
Well, really what I'd like you to do is you guys need to interview Matt. You can ask him. You can set that up. You can do whatever. I already talked to Matt about it. He would be more than happy to tell you. But they just, from what I gather, they get you in an area and they line it up. They line a bunch of people up and they listen to everything you say, and they're writing everything down and probably doing some videoing. And this is going on with every coach they bring in, and they're trying to learn things. So whoever they do hire, they've learned some things, and they're going to say, hey, how about this? So I just feel like they're gathering information. They're going to definitely hire a coach because they need one, but they're trying to learn from these college coaches.
How's Martin's hand healing up?
Real well. He actually swung the bat yesterday in some drill work for the first time where he was freed up to go. I'm not going to say he's 100%, but I'll say 80%. The ball's jumping off his bat, swing looked good.
With Bolden and Goodhart, do you expect them to be ready for the start of the season?
Yes, Bolden threw yesterday, and I watched his bullpen, and it was very impressive. He's now able to throw off-speed pitches. His changeup's really good. He's shortened his arm stroke, and I think Coach Hobbs did a nice job with him there. He really didn't see him pitch before he got here, but he saw video, and he was long arm. Now he's more of a short. Ball's coming out of his hand good. He's not throwing, but 60%, 70%, 80% with a fastball, and I think he's been up to 86 miles an hour. But the changeup looks really good. He's commanding his fastball. So we feel, like that Caleb will be ready to roll for us come February. And then, Goodhart, obviously he was a SEC All-Conference DH last year. Was big time in our lineup, and one reason we made it back to the World Series. We need to get his bat back, and we feel like that he'll be ready to go as well. Now the throwing, he just started really some throwing really within the last couple of days, and it's very light, but he's able to swing the bat a little bit, not 100% at all, just some drill work, and some of it's one-armed type stuff, but just starting to get back into some rhythm.
Okay, Casey, be 100% for
Martin?
for the start of the season.
Yes, he'll be 100%. I mean, that's an injury that's usually 5 to 6 weeks, and you're back doing what you need to be doing. Yeah, it can linger on and maybe a little bit of pain here and there, but by the time we get to the holidays, he should be fine.
And how did he hurt it?
He hurt it swing. It's a bad injury. It's a swinging injury. It's that hamate bone is a little bone at the bottom of the hand that just with time, or maybe it can just take one swing. There's a little bone that has a little hook on the end of it. It's an interesting. We haven't figured out what it's good for in there. We've actually even talked about telling our freshman hitters to get that thing taken out before they get here, because this is something that happens all the time. And it happened to Benintendi. I could go on and on. It happened to Gates. Just off the top of my head. And once you get it taken out, you're fine. But we feel like it was on a swing, or maybe it built up over time. And he did take a ground ball or a throw that hit him in that part of his hand as well. But it was already a little sore from what I got out of it.
This was just the right time to do the surgery. Obviously.
Yeah, this is the time. Last year, or not last year, but a few years back, Gates had it happen right when we got back in January, and he missed the beginning of his junior year. He missed, first 10 games of the year or so. And Andrew Benintendi, when he had it done, it seemed like it was right before the break, and he got off to a slow start because his hand was still bothering him.
Have you had anybody tell you they want to transfer out?
Well, I wouldn't say anybody's walked in and said they're going to transfer out. No.
Are there going to be transfers?
Oh yeah, there'll be guys leaving.
Do you know who they are yet?
Like there's some young guys that aren't going to make the team, or kids are going to redshirt, but I don't really want him to go into names now because I just completed my meetings yesterday with them. So I had meetings Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I had like 15 meetings a day. So if I start talking strange today, it's because I've talked out, to be honest with you. So good meetings. I'm always up front and honest with them. I tell them what we see, where we're at, and in some cases let them make a decision and try to give them some information so they can make an educated decision. Some of these kids need to talk with their parents and figure out what's best for them. There's some kids that need to redshirt because they need strength. There's some kids that need to go play because they're already strong enough, big enough. They need at bats, or they need to get on the mound and pitch in live games for their development. And if they don't do that, they're going to fall behind. We think most everybody that's in our program is good enough to play here and there, or maybe we see him playing in a year or two. But if we have a freshman in here and we don't see him playing even as a sophomore, and we're definitely telling him, this is something that you need to consider, go out and play and get better.
I guess you had 3 guys projected starters in your lineup out. I mean, what was that like? And is it going to be good to get those guys back when the games count, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it made our lineup was a little bit shorter than normal, and I would say that you were probably talking about at least the second scrimmage of outside competition. We didn't have Goodhart, and we didn't have Martin, and we didn't have Opitz, but we also didn't have Braden Webb, and I project him to be a starter. And there's been some guys that we feel are going to play, but they had little nagging injuries or issues, and it just it gave some young guys an opportunity to play against outside competition. And honestly, the young guys didn't do real well if you look at the numbers. And we're talking offensive guys, but as far as on the mound, we had most of our guys, and we held teams down. We just didn't score enough runs. That'll change.
You kind of know where you want to go, starting rotation, kind of bullpen, and maybe who your closer might be.
Well, we feel really good about our pitching staff as far as the depth, and we have really good arms in here, and including freshmen, guys that we have no problem putting out there to try to win a ball game. Now, some of the younger guys that have really good arms, we're still, figuring out if they can handle it when the game's on the line or playing in front of a big crowd, but we're going to have to get them out there and do that early. So, you're looking at Connor Nolan, you're looking at Wicklander, probably Cops, just to name a few. A lefty that really made a jump was Caden Monk. I mean, from 12 months ago, the strike zone was jumping around on him a lot. Now he's commanding it, and we didn't hit him when he threw strikes. And now he's throwing strikes. We didn't hit him very well. And he threw well against OU. He threw well against Oklahoma State. He's lefty. That's a good sign. So, but I guess to answer your question about, starters, some of them that I mentioned, obviously, they have an opportunity to start, but there's more. We play some really good competition on Tuesdays and Wednesdays before conference starts. Those guys there's going to be some guys get out there against some good teams. As far as finishing games, I mean, Zev Vermillion made a big jump this fall, and I had a good meeting with him the other day, and basically jokingly just said, "Where you been for the last 2 years?" And at first I don't think he knew, and then he realized, that was a compliment. He's threw great this fall. His fastball was 95 miles an hour, but he got him an out pitch, and it's a little cutter that's very hard and it moves, and we had a lot of trouble hitting it, and that was good to see. He can finish games. Elijah Tress can finish games. He was up to 96 miles an hour this fall. There's more in there. I feel like Ramage, he could also be a starter. I mean, he's back. He didn't have a really good year last year, and he knows it. But he threw really well this fall. I think he's highly motivated individual, and he could be a long reliever, finish games. He could come in the sixth and finish a ball game. He can start. There's a lot there. And then there's 3 or 4 freshmen that I feel like that really showed that they could do some things, like Blake Adams, Peyton Paulette, and I really feel like Zach Morris made a move too. And those are 3 in-state pitchers, and they all have good arms. The 2 right-handers are throwing the ball 93, 95, 96, and You know, he got a left-hander throwing the ball in the low 90s, 88 to 92 with movement, and he's a little different. So that's just to name a few. So we're excited about the depth of our pitching staff. You know, the question I get asked all the time, who's going to pitch on Friday night? Who's going to be your ace? Well, I don't know yet. You know, do we have that shutdown guy? Well, I think that will develop. Time will tell. But even if we don't have a guy that goes out and throws like Campbell or like Knight the year before, where you just, you know, on Friday night you got a 90% chance of winning that game. We feel like that we have a chance to get you before the weekend's over. We can get 2 out of 3 or maybe all of them, and there's a lot of depth, and we can just keep running guys out there. So that's a good feeling for a coach.
Yes, Mr. Casey Opitz, did he do something?
Yeah, he, you know, Casey, I didn't catch him much this fall. Trying to rest him a little bit. You know, he caught so many games last year during the regular season, all the way to Omaha, through Omaha. Caught with Team USA, ended up being a really good player for them, and threw everybody out that ran on him just about, and shut down some of the, you know, the other teams where they wouldn't try much on him. And so I tried to rest him, so put him in other positions. You know, he played first, did a great job, just to give him a little bit of a break. Well, he made a little play on an off-balance play when he was playing third base one day, and he kind of pulled his groin muscle, tweaked it a little bit. So I didn't catch him at all against Oklahoma State, and he probably could have caught. But, you know, I had 3 freshmen that I needed to get out there a little bit, and it's all good. You know, Opitz it's an amazing story with Casey. You know, we recruited him. We loved him defensively. But he was 158 pounds, 160 pounds. He's up to 195 now. And he's hitting the ball with authority. And I think you guys are going to see a big difference in his bat. And I'm not going to say he's going to hit 350, but you're going to see the ball jumping off that bat in batting practice. He's going to hit some home runs, and he's definitely a threat to hit it over your head. And, you know, he actually weighs a little more. I mean, he's getting strong, and he's really tried to put on weight. You know, it has to do with him working. It has to do with age. He's made himself into a big-time pro prospect now that he's gotten bigger.
Do you have a position that you like Braden Webb at best, and then
Yeah.
his injury, do you expect him to be okay when the season starts?
Yeah, you know, he made a really nice play in a scrimmage 2 days before we played Oklahoma in September, and but he dove for a ball in left center, and he fell on his left shoulder wrong, and he had a hairline fracture in the back of his shoulder. And he's still really 2 weeks away from maybe being able to swing a bat full speed. He's kind of frustrated about the injury. It's just a touchy little injury because we got to get that bone's got to heal. We got to fuse together, and we got to get him right. And but I think that he likes playing left field, and he likes playing in the outfield. But I also like him. He can really turn the double play. He's a little raw, so to speak, in the infield, but he throws his arm slot is something that he can play infield, you know, and I think he'll have a chance to play professional ball out of here. And, you know, in in pro ball, there's so many outfielders, you know, that if he can play infield as well, we'll work with him there. But I think for us, you're probably looking at him in the outfield.
Is Bolden a guy you could see starting or
Yep.
coming out of the bullpen?
And I can see him starting. You know, if the velocity keeps coming back, and it will, just with his experience and just being around an older guy on a team that has a lot of young pitchers, I think we're definitely going to try to get him out there and let him start. You'll see him starting if he's healthy early in the season, and you know, if he can get his breaking ball going. He's really trying to develop a slider. He used to have more of a slow breaking ball. We're working on a slider. His changeup has been really good. Like, it's better than it's ever been, with a lot of movement, and it's going to be tough to hit. And you know, if he has a good 3-pitch mix, quick to the plate, holds runners well, experience, fills his position really well, he's the guy that I would like to put out there to start.
What kind of fall did Connor Nolan have in his first full baseball fall?
You know, we saw Connor's velocity jump, especially the first few outings, and everything is better. Everything's better. I mean, he's come a long way. Command was really good. Breaking ball, I mean, he's got a couple of them as good. His changeup was good. You know, last year, you know, you'd see him go an inning and he'd be 91, and then you'd see him drop down to 89, 90. He kept his velocity. When he wants to throw the ball 93, he can, but it's it's low 90s, and secondary stuff is good, and really fields his position, quick to the play. I mean, he's just he'll be a starter for us, and I'm just looking forward to seeing his development continue to go in the right direction.
Heston at first, the job, what you saw from him, and then
Yeah.
if he's there, who's kind of backing him up there?
Yeah, Heston will place him first. He'll also play outfield as well. We've had Goodhart in there really working hard on his defense. He's fielding ground ball. Looks really good over there. There's a possibility he could go over there. Heston could go over there. There's another player too. Jesse Pierce can play over there. He's a freshman. But we're just going to see how it goes. I mean, we'd like to see Goodhart get out there and get in the lineup if he can. We'll move Heston back out to the outfield, but he'll still play some first. I think, Heston, I don't know if he made but maybe one error all fall, one or two, and made some really nice plays. And he's new to the position, and he for just saying, hey, you want to try it, and him just running over there and doing it, I thought he did a great job.
How did Blake handle doing two ways, and is he going to continue doing that?
Well, he actually handled it pretty well. He had a home run and early fall ball, and he's got a lot of power. But then we just kept continuing to watch his pitching, and he's throwing better than he ever did in high school as far as velocity now and command. You only walked like one or two hitters in like 19 innings all fall. I mean, he did a tremendous job. I mean, he's a guy that I could see starting, whether it's on the weekend or on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. We're going to try to develop him into a starter. He's got a good curveball, developing that changeup a little more, and if he's commanding that fastball. So, just everything you've probably heard me say, we see him more as a pitcher. He knows that his opportunity this year is a lot more on the mound. We don't want to take away from his development from pitching, and I feel like as of right now and talking with him in the meeting, he's good just pitching.
How'd you feel about, I guess, Franklin, your center fielder?
Franklin has really improved. I mean, his fall was really, really good. Cut down on his strikeouts. He hit doubles. He hit for power. He stole bases. He played a good center field, but he's going to play a better center field. But right now, he's our center fielder, yeah.
How'd you feel about I know the schedule's got released since we talked.
Who?
The schedule,
Oh, yeah.
your schedule. How do you feel about that?
Our schedule's going to be very challenging. I mean, it's we just play a lot of good ball team. You look at Gonzaga. Now we're going to play in 4 games. And that's our second series. Eastern Illinois, we've opened with them before. I know that we've had a game or two where we score a lot of runs, but we've had a game or two that we've had to go either extra innings or fight for it. And they're getting better. They always can pitch a little bit. Playing down in the Minute Maid tournament against the Big 12 schools, Illinois State coming in for a game, South Alabama on the weekend. And those are some pretty good games. And then we're going to go to Michigan State late in the season, and I think we're playing at Oklahoma. Some tough road games there. I think this is, make sure that I don't run my schedule. Going to Troy on spring break, getting them back next year. That's one reason we're doing that. I mean, that's going to be a tough swing. I mean, these are teams that we're going to have to play really well, and we're going to have some young pitchers out there, and it'll help us get better. So I'm excited about the schedule that we put together.
Is it flattering when the Yankees, want to interview your coach? I mean, it's the Yankees,
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why he went on that interview. There's other teams that have called him. I'm not knocking anybody else, but I think, when the Yankees give you a call and they say, hey, we'd like to talk to you, that's probably something that if you maybe weren't thinking about it, maybe you go ahead and take a trip and see what's up, and that's kind of what went on. So I'd say, yeah.
You mentioned Troy as a return game. Are the Michigan State and Oklahoma, are they returning
Yes.
too?
Yeah, we need to get, and that's one reason you do that. Scheduling, Northwest Arkansas, we're not super close to a lot of big schools, and trying to get some teams in here, especially when you're talking about getting teams in here in the middle of the week, and then also in April, when teams that are far away, they want to play home games, or northern teams want to play home games in April. So you have to really go out and play a little bit to get them to come back. And I don't mind playing on the road. I want to play as many games as possible at home for our fans and for our players to rest a little bit and not have to travel. But at the same time, I think it makes you better to play on the road and learn how to handle those environments and just all that goes with it, with the travel and the hotels and just maybe feeling uncomfortable a little bit, and maybe help us be better at the end of the year.
On On Goodhart's surgery, you had said in the past that it was like Ezel's surgery. It was about a month later in the summer when he had it. Was it maybe as severe of an injury? Do you expect him maybe to have a little bit quicker of a recovery?
It was pretty well ruptured in there, torn pretty good, and yeah, it's a tough injury, especially when it's your throwing arm, and so it's one of those situations where he's done everything he can do. I mean, he's in the training room, he's working, he's doing all his rehab, and then on the baseball side of it, I mean, he's doing everything that the doctors and our trainer will let him do. I mean, Corey's done a great job of working with him and rehabbing him, but he's taking ground balls now and doing dry swings, and he's doing anything he can do with his legs as far as working on base running. And I'm just worried about him falling, and I'm always kidding him, don't trip, and just basically telling him, you don't have to go 100% here, go 80%, and don't get hurt. We got to get you 100% before you go 100%.
Overall, just how good do you feel about the roster you're gonna have after your meetings and everything, and kind of where it's headed?
Well, I feel real good about the roster. I think it's a good mix of experience and youth. I think really the pitchers that are that are new here showed us that they have the stuff to get out college hitters and SEC type guys, and especially if they keep developing. A couple of transfers came in. One grad transfer that's done really well. One junior college transfer that's done really well before he got hurt. So we feel like that's going to really help our team and bring a little experience. And then a few freshman position players are going to be able to help us, whether they're starting every day or playing every now and then or being a backup. I think that it's a good mix. So I feel good about our roster. And, it's a tough time of year because, you gotta trim it up. Guys realize, hey, I'm not going to get to play this year, or it doesn't look good for the future, and they have to try to, figure out what they want to do. They want to stay and, battle a little bit, or they want to take a red shirt or a non-roster spot and get ready for the future. So there's a lot going on still.
How was Casey Opitz as a leader this fall?
Yeah, I mean, Casey Opitz as leader this fall was great, but Casey Opitz was a leader last year as well. You combo baseball knowledge, IQ, he's as good as it gets. He's like having a coach on the field. He's running the show out there. The players respect him, so if there's an issue and he needs to verbally say something to them, they're not going to really fight him on it because they probably figure, well, he's saying something for a reason. He's not just doing it to do it. Plus, he works extremely hard, and he's earned the right to do that. And, he's definitely a captain-type guy.
Anybody else?
Go one more. Do you know when the groundbreaking is going to be on the new facility?
I don't. I just, all I know is that there's been groups of people out here looking at things all over out there, marking stuff, painting spots. I know that I've been told that there could be some work going on possibly in December. I don't know if it's late December or when, but I'm sure that information should come out shortly.
Is George Steinbrenner still alive and running the Yankees, or you're worried he'd like to throw whatever money,
Well, if we're ever to lose a coach, I want to lose them to someone that's really going to take care of them and change their life. So if not, I sure hope they're here.